Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make thought bubbles or speech bubbles, but I'm also going to show you how to animate them just a little bit, just so they're not so static. One of my favorite YouTubers is called the Odd Ones Out, and he uses very minimal movement for his animations, so I'm going to show you how to do that too. And to start off with, here's my character, as usual. I have him in another layer just so I can move him around. I already have, if you watched my last tutorial about actions, I have a bunch of actions set up for him. So if I go into the timeline and let's check these actions out. I've done what the Odd Ones Out does, which is kind of just a really quick popping movement for my animations. So if you look here real quick, if I do a point up and insert a reference, you'll see my character kind of squashes and stretches and points up. Or I got hi guys, so he kind of just does a greeting. But I just called these, I don't know, popping motions. So when they play, they don't transition exactly from one to the next, but it still looks nice because it's just a little bit of a gesture. So I have these all pre-made so I don't have to do a lot of animation. So I'm going to clear the animation off the document so there's nothing on here. And let's say you want to create a speech bubble. So we'll go ahead and start off by going to frame 0 and creating a new layer, vector. And I'm just going to take this outside of, I don't want it in my character folder. So we'll just call this speech bubble. And we'll go ahead and click the create shape and make sure autofill and auto stroke is on. Select our circle, and I have the width of the stroke set to 4, so it'll be a nice looking speech bubble. So we'll just go ahead and draw an oval out, and then I'll hit A to add points, so you can just click right here. And I'll just add a point here and then add another point here. And then I'm going to hit T and just pull this out so we get the little spike or spur that's on talk bubbles. And this curve looks pretty weird, so we'll go ahead and I'll hit T and then I'll hit C, and I'm going to straighten that curve out so it's, oops, just really straight. This point and this point. And then I'll hit C and curve this out a little bit more so it looks more like a bubble again. And do the same, hit C and curve this out too so it looks pretty uniform. And I'll hit G just so I can select a bunch of points at the same time, move those around. So it's pretty easy to just draw a speech bubble, and you can hit T or G and grab points so you can have this character talking over here. You can hit G and select all of these and move these around. And very easy to create something like this. But now, say you want to add some text. I'm going to go to my layers palette over here and click text. And I already typed something in here. I'll just type in hi guys. What's up? And when you open this insert text boxes, you have a lot of options here. You can scale your text, and you can adjust the leading, which is the spacing in between lines. And you can also adjust the kerning, which is the spacing between the letters themselves, which is really nice. So you can just get the text the way you want. You can choose any font that's in your or installed on your computer. And I'll choose Impact just because it's really bold. Oops. Let me double click back in that. I wanted Impact. There we go. And scale that way down. And just letting. And then we can just scale it manually just by grabbing the corner. When you hover over the corner, it'll turn into those two arrows, and we'll just place it in our text bubble or speech bubble. And to keep my bubble and my words together, I'm going to go ahead and create a folder. So I'll go over to the layers palette, hit group, and we'll call this speech bubble. And I'll rename this speech bubble shape, just so we know what's what. And we'll drag both of those into the folder that I just made. So click on your text, hold shift down, select your shape, and then left click and drag into the folder, and they both go into the folder. And Anime Studio is pretty weird. It kind of, when you do stuff like this, if something like this happens where your text disappears, it's probably because it's been resized. I'm not sure why Anime Studio does this, but just hit reset with your layer, manipulate or transform layer tool. Hit reset, select your shape, and hit reset on that also. And then you'll have to move some stuff around again. I'll move the text back into place. So everything will be where you want it to be. And the reason I put these in a folder is so that I can grab the folder and move those together. I also want to change the point of rotation, or the axis point, which is this crosshair right here. So if you click this cross and then place it right here at the tip of your thought bubble, now when we do the manipulate bones tool, or layer tool, when we grab the outer box, you can rotate it right there, and you can scale it together and keep it all just uniform like that. So if you have a text box ready to go, the way you can animate it or just have it pop in is just to hide and reveal. So double click on your speech bubble folder, and we're just going to hide it for now. And I'll hit uncheck visible, apply, and OK, and that just hides it. And then in my timeline, I'm going to go back to my character for a second. I'll just import quick animation. So with him selected, I'm going to go into my actions, and I'm just going to click on the Hi Guys action and insert a reference. And this just brings his hand up, and he kind of does a squash and stretch and smile. So I'm not going to animate lip syncing or anything like that. I'm just going to put this in here, and I want the thought bubble to appear right when his hand's coming up. So I'll place the timeline right about there, and then double click on my speech bubble folder and click visible and hit apply. Then that makes it just appear at the same time as his movement. And hi guys, what's up? Now you can just have it just appear like that if you want. I'm going to go to the frame where it appears and just adjust it a little more and shrink it. So I want it to appear right there. But to animate it, you can see my character squashes and stretches, so I'm going to kind of do the same thing with the thought bubble. So right when on the first frame that it appears, I'm going to click right on the transform the scale of the folder for the speech bubble. So I'll oops. When that arrow turns to a double-sided arrow, we'll shrink it down. I'll hit my arrow key 2 times over, and that just moves the timeline over a little bit, and then we'll pull it so it grows a little bit, and then I'm going to hit the arrow key 1 more time to the right, and then shrink it. And all that's going to do is just going to make it bounce a little bit when it pops up. So now it's got a little bit of more animation to it. So it pops in like that. And again, the reason why I put the crosshair or the rotation axis down here is so if you want to, you can actually rotate it in. So we can have the bubble over here, and then when it pops in, have it straighten out. So it's got a little bit more of a comic or cartoon feel. So it pops in, and then you can make it disappear by doing this opposite. Go anywhere in your timeline. I'll double click that folder and uncheck visible and apply, and you can see the timeline. In the timeline where it's pink, that's where it's going to be hidden, and then it pops in. and then pops out. And I'm going to add some more animation. So I have my character, some more presets. Just do hand on hip. So it goes back into a kind of a default position. And then I'll add another one where he's pointing. And where's that point up? Add that in. So we'll add another speech bubble right here. And what we can do is we'll go back to frame 0 for a second. And instead of going through and creating a whole new speech bubble, we'll just click on the first one, hit duplicate. So it's going to make speech bubble 2. And while that's selected, go up to animation and clear animation from layer. And it's going to tell you it's going to clear everything in that folder and its sublayer. So just hit yes, because we're just starting over again with this speech bubble. And I'm going to double click it real quick and make it visible just so I can see what I'm doing. And hit apply. So we already have our speech bubble for the second part made. Let's go ahead and change some things. So we'll go into the text, double click it, and I'll say something. This is the second bubble. And I'll go ahead and hit OK. I'll shrink it down, clicking on that corner. Let's go ahead and move the shape. Move it over here. This time I'll hit T, grab the spike, spur, I don't know what you'd call that, the little pointer, and grab the text and move it over here. Oops. Hit T, move some of these points around. And so now we have our second bubble. And now that that's made, I'll go ahead and hide it just like we did the first one. Double click it, uncheck visible, apply. Now we're going to find our second bit of animation. So this time I'm going to add a, let's go to my character, add a point up. Oh, I did already, right there. So we'll go to our second speech bubble, double click it. Now that we have the right place in the timeline, and click visible and apply. And just repeat the same process. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And I'm going to change the rotation point and select manipulate or transform layer. I'll click on the corner with the double arrow to shrink it a little bit. Use my arrow keys to go over in the timeline, make it grow, go over one more, and make it shrink a little bit so it just pops. This is the second bubble. And I should have him pointing to the bubble now that I look at it. That's okay, you still get the idea. So you see that pops in, and then again I can double click it, hide it so it goes away. I'll animate some more. I'll just go to my character, both hands up. And the other thing is, let's go in the speech bubble. You can see if the speech bubble you wanted to appear sooner, you can just grab the key points. It's going to move the visibility also. So if I bring it over to right where he points, it's okay to go ahead and pull the visibility there and make it disappear wherever you want also. So you can actually adjust the visibility as well. that. And I'll go back to my character. I'm just gonna move the reference animation real quick. And then I'll add one more. I wanted to show you one more thing about we'll make a thought bubble instead of a speech bubble. So you can learn a little bit about curve profiles. So I'll go here and do wondering. This is just my character putting his hand on his chin, like he's thinking about something instead of talking. So one more time, we'll go back to frame 0. I'm going to select speech bubble 2. I'll duplicate that. And I'm going to rename this thought bubble. And do the same thing. I'm just clicking off of it, then clicking back on just so I have it selected. Go back to animation, clear animation from layer. It's going to clear everything underneath or in the same folder. We want to say yes. And double click it and visible. And apply. And this is our third bubble. So I'll hit OK. And then I'm going to again go in and change the text. Double click it. And I'll type, I wonder if this is good. Question. Okay, so I hit OK. Now we need to change the bubble. Usually a thought bubble looks like clouds, like it's lumpy. So we'll go ahead and change the bubble shape. Let's change this to thought bubble. Bubble shape. And while we're still on frame 0, I'm going to hit T, select this point, and then delete. And I'll do that again with this point, just so we have oval shape again. And this, I'm going to show you really quick what curve profiles are and what they're used for. They're really powerful if you know how to use them. This is really good for like trees and bushes and saw blades and things that have repeating outline shapes. So here we have our oval. Now I'm going to click on, or I'm going to hit A, or just add points on frame 0. And I'm turning off the autofill and stroke. It's already turned off actually. So turn off the fill and stroke because we just want to draw a line. We don't need to add any color or anything. I'm just going to hit A and I'll draw a point up, or a line up, and then draw one down, then up, and then down. And then I'm going to hit C. I'm going to left click and drag over, or actually hit G. You can left click and drag over the 2 top points and then hit C, and that'll curve the lines. So we'll curve them like that. And what this does is it's gonna, we can select a shape like our thought bubble, our speech bubble now, and then turn it into a thought bubble by, after you click it, you'll click on this button right here. It's called Curve Profile. And once you click that, it's going to change into this symbol right here. It's a little hard to see, but the 2 little shapes there. And whatever you click on, if you click on a path, it's going to try and mimic that path. So I clicked on it, and you can see now our shape has this curve profile added to it. And if I change this curve profile, you can see that it actually will change the look of this entire oval. And you can actually select the entire thing, and you can make it bigger. Oh, that doesn't do anything. You have to move the points. But, so we can offset it. We can add more points if you want. Curve that out so it's a little bit different. It's really pretty cool. So I'd suggest kind of messing around with this to get something that you want. I'm going to curve this out a little bit. And I'm just trying to make this look a little bit more like a thought bubble. And I'm going to hit W and select my thought bubble and just shrink the stroke just a little bit because it looks a little too thick. Like that. And then I'll go ahead and add a couple more circles. So with the autofill and auto stroke turned on, I'll select the circle and I'll draw a few thought bubbles going down to my character's head, like that. And one more time, I'm just going to go through the same exact thing. Double click the folder, hide it by unchecking visible, apply, and then we'll go down in the timeline to where my character moves to where he's thinking. So right there. So then I'll check visible, hit OK. And let's change the point of rotation again. We'll put it right here on that last circle. Transform layer tool, and I'll shrink it. Use my arrow keys to go over a couple times, or however many times you want. Grow it, go over one keyframe and shrink it again a little bit, just so it kind of pops in. And that's pretty much it for thought bubbles and speech bubbles. Again, this is kind of a technique that I really kind of like. I'll probably start using it more and maybe even use it in tutorials, just because it takes a long time to lip sync really long text. I know some people like using Papagayo. I personally don't, just because I like having my characters' mouths match really well. But it's just a personal preference. But I kind of like this type of animation too now, where I can just go in and select these different actions and just place them in really quick. And it actually looks pretty good. So I think I'm going to maybe try that in the next tutorial, just for when I'm explaining things. And that's it. Again, the reason why I have my character inside of a folder, inside of another folder, which is the bone layer. When I first started trying to make this tutorial, because I have these reference animations, when my character was outside of this folder, these actions actually contain the positioning. So if I tried to move my character at all, these animations wouldn't look right because he'd pop over to where they were originally created. So I just put them in a folder and I animated the position of the folder itself. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just so I could contain my character in one place and not have him move around. So that's it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And I want to thank everybody for their support. It's really appreciated. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Or talk to you soon.